The launch of a new car is always exciting, and it's always a busy time for the manufacturer in question. But when it comes as a high decibel launch and one that's been anticipated for quite some time, well, then that pressure just increases. So which is why I'm fortunate to get a little bit of time to have a chat with the man behind this huge launch. I'm talking, of course, of the Volkswagen Taigun. Ashish, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Always a pleasure, Siddharth.
Like I said, busy time for you.
Yes.
But we're still managing to catch a cup of coffee with you. So, thank you.
In fact, now that you mention it, my coffee intake has gone up tremendously. Yeah, so much anxiety, so much of nervous energy. But yeah, it feels good.
But the thing is that it's the right kind of nervous energy, right? Because the anticipation, as I mentioned, the other day I got accused of saying every launch you guys say is and highly anticipated. But this one, genuinely, it's been a good build-up ever since you showed the car at the Auto Expo. Today, we are finally bringing the car into the market, and you've talked about already taking in a significant number of bookings. How important is this moment for Volkswagen India and Volkswagen AG?
Yeah. So if you talk about how important it is, yes, from a market point of view, it is very important. But I think let me start by saying that how important is it for my team? This is a team which has been working relentlessly on this product for the last 3 years. Right from conceptualizing the product to what goes into the product, the numerous customer interactions and focus group discussions we have had to make sure that we have the right product for the customers. Building the campaign, which has been brilliant, most talked about campaign in the market right now. The build-up, the excitement, the events that you do. So I think this launch on the 23rd is the culmination of all that effort that we have put in. And that is something which I am extremely proud of. The way we have carried forward this momentum and this build-up even during these tough times. I'm sure, when you have passion driving your team and when you have put so much of effort and research into what you're bringing to the customers, the numbers and the success will speak in the market. So that's how important it is. From a company point of view, I think no need to say, we have been under pressure in terms of volumes over the last couple of years. We knew this would happen because we were planning and we were building up to the India 2.0. So this is the culmination of all that, the trough that we went through. Now is the time to enjoy the efforts and the hard work put in.
And surf the wave.
Yes, yes, surely.
And get your hustle mode on.
Yeah.
Let me throw that in. But the excitement has, of course, only built up, like you said. It's not always easy to do that, especially when you have this long gestation period where you are going visible. It's one thing to say that, look, we know it's coming on this date, but let's not talk about it till then. But you did start talking about it last year. So compliments to you and the team to have kept that momentum going, as you said. The car itself, there are two aspects to it as I see it, and so please correct me if I'm wrong. The anticipation that I talked about, it comes from the product, no doubt. I mean, all of us have driven it, we've reviewed it. People have now started seeing the car in different cities, the customers themselves, potential ones. And then there's the whole thing about, this coming from Volkswagen. Both those aspects are sort of combining to make this sweeter, you think?
I definitely think so. When customer is buying a product, I don't think he's buying a product alone these days. Mm-hmm. He's buying into an experience.
Yeah.
And that experience is something which you actually create over a longer period of time. Now, customers who have been associated with us over the last 10, 12 years in India and globally as well, have a certain expectation from the Volkswagen brand. So the challenge was actually bringing a product which also meets the experience expectations of the customers from the brand. And that's where I think, has been our biggest success. As you said, it has been a long gestation period. We've been showcasing this car for the longest time now, 18 months. So keeping that momentum going, making sure that we present our brand, first of all, in the right way to the customers was very important. And that's why the implementation of the new brand design into Indian market. And by the way, we just learned that we are the first market with the highest penetration of new brand design implementation across our network, across the world. So that's something which we consciously decided that we need to focus on building and making sure that the brand is presented in the right way across all touch points, whether it is in our network, whether it is in our campaigns, whether it is in our dealer network, or in terms of how we present our people in terms of uniforms, is actually going out in the right way, and customers can truly understand that there is some transformation going on in Volkswagen. So that ways we have been very successful. But at the end of the day, the brand can be as successful as your products.
Yeah.
So I think with the Taigun, it perfectly fits in with the new brand design and the brand language that we have built. So that ways I think they perfectly match with each other.
No, and the fact that you're also going into this most exciting segment obviously plays its own role too.
Yeah.
It's also the most competitive segment of late. It's the fastest growing for a couple of years now,
Yeah.
more than a couple of years. So you always knew what you're getting into. Getting the positioning right, therefore, would have come with its own challenges
Of course.
and pressures, no doubt.
Yeah.
We've spoken about that before in the past several months back too.
Yeah.
Today, you have now announced the prices, the thing that most people were waiting to find out now. How confident are you, A, with getting that, having got that right, you think, and how much pressure was there to get it right?
I think right from the start, 3 years back when we did our customer interactions and our research along with focus group discussion with customers, one thing was very clear, that customers were looking for a starting, a standard equipment level from Volkswagen. Their expectations from
No
Volkswagen,
stripped down car.
yeah, no stripped down car, as you say. So customers were very clear that for Volkswagen, we are willing to pay a premium, and we have an expectation of at least some standards to be followed in Volkswagen. So it was very important for us to actually stay true to those expectations when we developed the car. And that's why the line structure that you saw today is based on that feedback. We have a dynamic line with the 1.0 liter engine and the performance line with the GT variants. In the dynamic line equipped with the 1 liter engine, we have actually, based on customer feedback, starting our lineup from the comfort line now. Yeah? So no more trend line.
Trend line is gone.
And this is, I think, bearing out in the market as well. If I see the sales of my current Polo and Vento as well, the entry-level variant is somewhere where we have the lowest traction. So customers have moved up in the value chain, and I think starting with the comfort line, which has very good features built in right from the start, we have the ideal lineup to start with. We move to the traditional high line, where we also have an automatic and transmission and manual option, and we are introducing a new top line, fully loaded with all the features you can think of. Moving to the performance line, which is the 1.5 liter, we have the GT with the manual transmission, and then we move to the fully loaded GT Plus, which you've all loved and seen across all mediums. You've driven it yourself as well and loved it. So I think we have very clearly taken on board the feedback that we got and the expectations that we got from customers and try to stay true to that.
Do you think some of this has to do with the Volkswagen brand, in the sense that, when you say that customers have an expectation, but also that, they're not really looking for like that cheap entry variant?
Yeah.
Some of that, I guess, you get lucky because the brand brings that in, right?
Yeah, of course.
Some other brands may not have that comfort,
Exactly.
no pun intended,
Yeah.
to start with, like a well-loaded base variant.
Definitely. This also has to do a lot with how the brand is positioned globally and how we have built up the brand in India. As I said, the 10 years that we have had in India, customers have appreciated the build quality, the safety and the fun to drive that customer that our products bring in. And that is something which our products have to stay true to. The build up to the brand also over the last 2 years has been to position ourselves as a premium aspirational brand. You know this very well, Siddharth, that we are not looking for astronomical volumes or market share in India. Our stated ambition is to go up to 3%. But when you do that 3%, we want to do it well. We want to do it in a way where customers actually aspire for our car. And I think our lineup stays true to that.
No, and what you mentioned about, what people expect from you, it's not just about gadgets or, buttons and features, but it's also like what you said, build quality and safety. I mean, that has to be baked in.
Yeah.
And that goes across variants. Pricing itself, yes, challenge always any product launching. But, two things that played a role here as we see it. You tell me if it did or did not. The first is the fact that the Kushaq did arrive first. And so, it set a sort of an expectation. Will it go higher? Will it go lower? Will it be the same? And the second thing that happened more recently was, of course, this, sort of cat amongst the pigeon moment when the XUV prices were announced by Mahindra. How much, did that sort of factor into your decision? And how much more pressure did it add to your decision?
When we started with this project itself, the positioning between the brands was very clear.
And you would have had a sort of target price anyway.
We do, yeah, we do. And so the positioning between the brands is very clear, which stays true again to the global positioning between the brands.
Yeah.
Volkswagen is positioned as a more premium brand, and we had to make sure that our lineup and our prices stayed true to that. So that's been the endeavor. I wouldn't say it was pressure. You had certain benchmarks and certain guidelines to follow. We stayed true to that, but at the same time, keeping in mind what goes into the heart of the market. And if you see our lineup and our prices today, you can clearly understand what are we targeting. Yeah? With the high line and the top line, we are sitting right where our customers want us to be. And that's where the volume is also.
That's where the aspiration is for them too.
Yes. Yeah. Fully loaded top line, high line well equipped, no trend line with a comfort line equipped with at least good amount of features, and the GT for the performance oriented enthusiasts for our brand.
But tell me this, the expectation on price is one thing. It's also about translating that and taking it back to the headquarters and convincing them. This time, the other day I spoke with Mr. Zelma. Yeah. The feeling that even I'm getting is that you didn't really need to convince. I think they get it, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that message is clear in Volkswagen?
Yes. So I wouldn't like to go into much details with that. Yeah. But there's always a difference between how sales and marketing thinks and how finance thinks.
Yeah, universally.
And you have to keep both happy. So I think with this pricing, we have made both sides happy. And that's a big thing to achieve. Yeah.
No, but the fact that you're being slightly aggressive, this was well understood by headquarters. That's what I mean.
Of course. And
which is a good change.
Much supported as well. In fact, I had some moments where I actually had proposed higher prices, but the feedback from the headquarters was no. We feel this would be better at a lower price point than this. So that was a refreshing change for me.
So those of you who like the prices, you can thank Wolfsburg. He wanted higher prices. Now, jokes apart, last topic that I want to quickly get onto is production.
Yeah.
Because you've already got 11 or more than 11,000 bookings now.
Yeah. As of today, 12,000, more than 12,000.
More than 12,000. Yeah. So I'm corrected. The onslaught of that is huge in terms of how to sort of deliver those cars now to the market.
Yeah.
I understand now that the prices are out. Some of that will see some rationalization, but you'll still get even more interest, right? Sure. Next few days, leading up to the festive season. How are you going to handle that production pressure, and what about the chip shortage?
See, from a production plan point of view, I'm not going to the shortages right now, but if you look at the production plan, my production will ramp up from October onwards. September, we have good production already coming in, and we will start deliveries from today. In fact, the dealers have started deliveries from today. But from October onwards, because of the festive season, we get into a ramp-up phase and we have good amount of production available. December is when we will see the peak of our production coming in. That's how the whole production plan is actually laid out right now. So all looking good. In terms of serving the customers, it has to be about transparency. The demand is much higher than supply right now from my production plan. So we will have to make sure that customers are well informed about the timelines for delivery. We will, of course, leave no stone unturned to make sure that the delivery is as fast as possible. But that is a very clear message to our network that we have to go in the priority order of bookings and then give a very clear timeline to customers on delivery. That we will ensure.
But how are you balancing the GT versus or the 1.5 versus the 1 liter?
So far the booking trends, Siddharth, are more or less in line with what we have planned.
What you planned?
Yeah. There might be some variations based on some demand coming in for some variant, but we have the production which is flexible enough to take care of those changes.
And also the supply of the engines, etc. in the case of the 1.5 is not a problem?
Yes, not at all.
All right. So Diwali coming up, where do you expect this to sort of go, and what sort of scale are you expecting bookings-wise? Where do you see yourself with the Taigun 6 months from now?
So coming first to the question of Diwali, personally, I think I want to be in a position where I can take 1 week off. And I'm confident that with the momentum that we have, I will be able to afford that. So that's something which I'm very confident of. The team is charged up. And I think from the 12,000 pre-bookings itself, I can be very sure that is something which I can use to relax. 6 months down the line, I think the momentum is only going to pick up because the production and the delivery momentum picks up in November and December, and then you just go up from there. So that's something which I'm very looking really forward to. Once the car is in the market, the car is visible to customers, I'm sure there will be more fans who will be joining our family.
And of course, hopefully these shortages will start to get better.
Yes, that's something of a spoiler on the horizon. Yeah. Constant fight every day, but so far so good.
No, I know there are other markets waiting for the car from you as well. We've spoken about how it's going to be exported from here. Yeah. So I know you'll have your hands full and we'll be very busy. But this is the good kind of busy. I think you've got off to a great start. Congratulations.
Thank
you. And all the very best with the Taigun.
Thank you, Siddharth. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.